Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison. Hey guys, I haven't talked to you in a few days. Just want to see how you guys are doing. Hope you guys are doing great. Think about Thanksgiving this weekend, what's going on there. Definitely spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones. Also, remember our military's out there. Some are overseas currently right now in some different areas. Think about them as well. Think about our police officers that are working on Thanksgiving Day that aren't able to be with their families until later, maybe in the evening and things like that. So think about everybody out there, our first responders. A lot of them will be working in the hospitals and stuff. Just thank them for their service and everything they do. And it's just very important. Even the farmers, thank them because obviously you have turkey on the table. I know the price of turkey is going up, just like everything else, but we'll be talking about that in a minute. There's a couple things we'll be talking about tonight. It's not going to be a super long podcast or YouTube video tonight, but want to get into a few things. Okay. So first of all, I want to dive into a few things. Let's dive into a couple things first with let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. First of all, he came out the other day. He was talking about Joe Biden. Now, I do want to say this. And I want to say this. I wish Joe Biden can actually hear this. I would want him to hear this. Okay. Not as a president, Joe Biden. Not as a president. Think of this. Take that completely off the table. This is what you need to look in the mirror at and say, okay, we all make mistakes. We do. I make mistakes. That's what makes us human. And we all do. Now, Joe Biden, you made a huge mistake of already judging somebody before. Obviously, the case was done. Even after the case was done, you go on to say that I will just stick by with what the court did and the jury. But you weren't happy with it. Now, again, I want to break this down a little bit because, Joe, if you're saying that and you're not able to apologize, which I've never heard you do, taking the presidency off the table again, if you're a man, and I'm just going somewhere with this, guys, don't get all political and say, oh, man, woman, and all that, but if you're a man and you make a mistake, a true man will apologize. Are you not a true man? I'm just saying it that way. Just like a woman or anything else, we all make mistakes. It was a mistake that was made. By doing what you did, you're actually the one dividing the country right now by saying that. You. It is all on you by saying that. And you know, when we look at this and look at your polls and look what's going on, you need to really look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm the one to blame here. That's what you need to do. So, anyway, there's a lot out there that's going on right now. So let's talk about I can never pronounce her name, Jen Psaki. I am sorry if I didn't get the name right. But let's talk about her today. You have one of the press reporters asking her about Joe Biden apologizing. Do you know what she did? First of all, instead of saying, I'll leave that up to Joe, she went off and started talking about Trump and trying to divide the country again. She's just as guilty by doing that. She should have keep Trump off the table. Trump made mistakes too. Everybody does. All presidents make mistakes. But to continue with what these guys are doing is a real problem. It is a huge mistake. And just getting into that a little bit, she had no right to really get involved in that. She should have just said, again, I'm going to let Joe handle it. He should be the one talking about this. But again, jumped right on Trump, divided the country. Joe, when you're doing stuff like this, let's talk about racism. It's not just about black, white, Asian. Racism comes in many, many, many different things. It can break down to things like you're doing right now. When you're talking and calling somebody a white supremacist without having the facts, that's racist. Therefore, Joe, you're a racist. I always say you're a Marxist too, and you are. A radical left is a bunch of Marxists. And there's not a lot of good people. There are a lot of good people on the right too, and on the left there's some out there. They're a little confused and lost on the left, I'll say. But that being said, we don't need to divide this country, and we're all guilty of it at times. Even I am. I'll say it. I make mistakes. I make mistakes on this show occasionally. And I do. And I've been called out a couple times. But when you see what's really going on out there, and you see the right, the left, we're all Americans, and that's the problem. We're divided. And Joe, you're pushing it more and more and more. All right. So we'll back off that right now. And Joe, you should apologize to him because, again, it's over. He was acquitted of everything. Let it go. Don't go after this young man. Don't go making this a federal court case or anything else, because it's not. If you do that, then what you're doing is telling everybody that the court case that just happened, the trial and everything else, wasn't legit. It wasn't right. So again, stand by your word. Be a man. Be a president. Stand by your word and let that one go. But again, you should apologize. Now, let's go into something else. Let's talk about these gas reserves. First of all, let's go back to Joe on this one. We wouldn't be in this problem, Joe Biden, if you wouldn't have shut down those pipelines they were working on. And you would have kept the oil going and everything else instead of getting it from OPEC. Because you're trying to get everything from OPEC. That's why prices are higher. That's part of it. Overseas. Also, when we don't have enough fuel, like when, and I'm not going into Trump, but I am going to go into Trump. Guess what? Trump had the oil reserves retapped, filled back up. He also had oil coming from here. So we were energy sufficient. We could handle our own. But Joe, you put people out of jobs by doing this. You hurt the economy. You heard in what's going on right now with inflation. It is all on you. And you need to look in the mirror. This is back to you. And I'm telling you this as a man, a person, telling you it is you. And a couple of people there with you on the left. So, but also, I would like to get into a little bit of this. Do you know what the oil reserves really are for? Does anybody really know? Oil reserves were put in effect, and Joe, they were put in effect basically for the military. If we were to get into a war, we have enough oil reserves and everything else to cover our military if we get into a war. That's really what that's about. Now, again, Joe's not the only person that's ever tapped, or president that's ever tapped into this. I'll say it. There have been others. But again, you shouldn't have done this with the pipelines in the beginning. We would have been in much better positioning right now with oil, not relying on other countries for this. And then again, if we do get into a major conflict, which God knows I hope we don't, but the way China's looking right now, you never know. A lot of that is just talk, I hope. But again, we don't want to have to tell another country, hey, we can't help you because we don't have the reserves, because guess what? You used them up. So again, gas prices, you expect to see these things drop? I expect to see a little bit of a drop, not a major drop to get through the holidays. And then as spring and summer come, guess what? It goes right back up. So we're going to see that. That's my prediction on this. You're not going to see a huge drop in gas prices. You'll see a little bit, but I don't expect you're going to see it from a year ago. So anyway, we talked about that. Guys, also, I always want to mention this. Go to my website, www.just-markcommonsense.com. Again, www.just-markcommonsense.com. Sorry I didn't get my video out the other night on time. I was having a computer problem, and I finally got it fixed. I did get the podcast out, but not the YouTube video, so it was a couple days late. So, again, I apologize for that. So also, I'm going to play a segment here that came out of D.C. today. Let's listen to this, and we'll go from there, and we'll talk about inflation. And guys, I'm sorry about what's going on with you trying to put food on your table. I know Biden's going on a vacation. As his press secretary, she was sitting there saying, well, everybody's entitled to go on with their loved ones, and I don't disagree with that. Everybody is. But, Joe, make sure that you are taking care of everybody else and not just yourself going out with the billionaires and millionaires and everybody else you say you don't like and you want to charge That's a bunch of crap. But anyway, here, let's play the segment. It's going to be about maybe 3 minutes.
Yesterday we were here talking about the impact of inflation on food prices that you're seeing across the country. Today the focus is on energy, but it's all intertwined. We're seeing this, across the economy, all goods and all services, and that's impacting everybody on a daily basis, no matter what they're doing. And, we've given you some of the statistics, like, for example, in my state, average price of a gallon of gas has gone from just over $2 to now well over $3. Natural gas prices have almost tripled since the beginning of the year. And so we're seeing it across the board. And that is a tax on every single American every single day that they're paying. That's the reality. And it is the policies of this administration that's causing it. You can't come in on day one and start shutting down pipelines or setting up a moratorium on leasing on federal lands and federal waters, and taking those kind of steps of increasing regulation and making it more difficult to produce energy here at home. You can't do those things and not drive up energy prices. And that's exactly what this administration is doing. And then amazingly, they take the sanctions off Nord Stream 2 and allow Russia to bring natural gas into Europe, and turn around and ask our adversaries, countries like Russia and the countries in OPEC, to produce more oil while you're trying to suppress that energy production here in our country. I mean, it absolutely defies common sense. And, of course, now what the administration and our colleagues across the aisle in Congress are working on is a big tax and spend plan that will add to this inflation problem. Think about it. More tax, more spend, more regulation is going to just drive inflation even further. And so they're saying, well, look, with this tax and spend bill, nobody that makes less than $400,000 is going to have to pay more tax. It's just the people that make more than $400,000 are going to have to pay more tax. Well, the fact is, inflation is a tax on every American every single day in every product they buy.
Right.
And who does it hit the hardest? The people with low income. It hits them the hardest. That's the wrong policy. It's the wrong approach. We need to go back to empowering the people that produce energy in this country. They do it better than anyone in the world, and they do it with the best environmental stewardship. And that was the track we were on before this administration came in, with the kind of policies that are preventing that. And we need to get back to the right approach.
All right. So you heard it right there, guys. You heard everything right there. That's absolutely what's going on right now with inflation. And again, it's a problem. It's a huge problem that Joe Biden's the cause of, and his administration. It's almost as if you were to hand them a checkbook. It's an open checkbook, and they just write checks going, and they say they're children. And you hand your child a checkbook, even though the checkbook, just hand them a checkbook you had and it's voided or whatever, but kids will play with it and go, oh, $2 million, oh, and try to learn how to write and not realize what's going on. Well, that's what's going on with this administration right now. They're just writing checks, and it's like they don't know where the money's coming from. Oh, it's free money. Well, it's not free money, just like these people are collecting all this unemployment that was going on, all this other money they're throwing out there, why we're watching jobs right now in restaurants, many other businesses as well. You see them right now. Help wanted on every door you walk around out there. We'll pay you to work. We'll do a sign-on bonus. We're going to pay you extra money. Where's that coming from, Joe? It's coming from Joe Biden, right? Sure. Yeah. Joe Biden's bragging about how great the economy's doing. He's bragging about how great jobs are. People are going back to work. That's why some of the numbers are going up, because they have no choice on some of this stuff when you get to some of the people who were out for last year for COVID. Now, getting into this, though, a little bit more, you're seeing, like I said, these restaurants. I spoke to many people. I've spoke to people in dentist office. I'm seeing it all across the board where we got shortages going on. We still are seeing a lot of that. There's a big chip shortage going on. It's not just car dealers. It's many things right now. When you look at the machinery, let's just get into the car dealers a little bit. When you look into this machinery, you've got these robots, right? Robots build these cars, some of them. Well, guess what runs the robots? Chips. Bingo. It's not just cars and chips. All of a sudden, we're having these robots. We'll just look at it that way. There's machinery where the chips aren't working. Then we need to get new chips for that. There's glass shortages. There's many, many things going on. And it's just a way of looking at it. It's piling up like Mount Everest. It just keeps going and going. And the way they're spending money is just here's more paper. Here's more paper. I'll write this. And that's what's going on. They're not responsible enough to handle a checkbook. They're not responsible enough to handle this country. And like I said, they are not responsible enough to apologize when they make mistakes. And a lot of mistakes are made here. And again, we're seeing it in his poll numbers. We're seeing it in Harris's poll numbers. We don't even see Harris hardly anymore. Obviously, we've talked about that, but that's another story. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and just definitely go to my website, www.just-markcommonsense.com. Love for you to go ahead and give me some feedback. And check out my YouTube, my podcast. Definitely subscribe, and share, and give me your opinions. And I'll definitely try to answer as much as I can out there. I'm getting a lot of feedback from a lot of people saying they're listening to my podcast a lot more driving to work, driving home. So again, definitely appreciate that. I appreciate everything you guys do. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter. I'm out there, and I'm doing my best to get set up here. And I'm going to start getting out there on the campaign trail soon. So you'll see me out there working on that. Hopefully I get a little more out there than I am on YouTube. But hey, no, my podcast channel is going crazy, and my TikTok's going crazy all of a sudden. And Twitter, believe it or not, is going crazy. But otherwise, as always, what are we going to do? I want to thank our law enforcement for everything you guys do. We know you guys got a lot going on, especially with the holiday season, Christmas, and everything coming up. I appreciate everything you guys do. A lot of you, like I said, are going to be working on Thanksgiving. Same thing for Christmas and other holidays as well. And our love and thoughts are with you, and we want you to be safe out there. And again, with your families as well. We're also seeing a lot with our military out there. Again, we always appreciate everything you do, and thank you for your service as well, and for everything you guys do out there. And again, some of you are going to be away from your families, but remember, even if you're overseas, your family's with you, America's with you, we're all with you always. We're right here in your hearts, okay? So keep that in mind. I also want to thank our first responders. We know a lot of you are going to be working, our nurses and doctors and stuff. Some of you will be working in the hospitals and stuff. Again, thank you for what you guys do. We know you're working hard to save lives and help people. And there's a lot going on right now with the vaccines and all that. You know, that's a whole nother story I've spoken about. I hear that's on hold right now, so we'll see how that goes. OSHA's backed off that. That's what I'm hearing. So again, we'll see how that goes. And also, I do want to thank our farmers out there. We know you're going through a lot, and I do want to mention something that the press secretary, she was saying, oh, well, if you get a bigger turkey, it only went up $1. Well, $1 means a lot to other people, but if I really want to get into the breakdown of that, it went up more than $1. Just like they don't know how to write a checkbook, they don't know how to do math, apparently. And that's, you know, it went up more than $1, but $1 means something to a lot of people, guys, and really people that are struggling out there working 3 and 4 jobs, some of them barely able to come home and sleep. Look, our thoughts are with you guys that are doing that. I know one individual who works a lot of hours like that, working a couple jobs, and this individual does a lot of work and trying to make ends meet constantly. And again, it's a huge thing. I get it. It's very sad that somebody has to do that because inflation's going up. It's harder to put food on the table for your family and many other things. But again, thank you for our farmers for really working out there, especially with winter coming up. You're going to have these cold snaps, the freezes. What am I saying? You know, the cold temperatures and all. I know when I lived in Florida, we got a lot of strawberry farms down there. And it was interesting to watch when it would freeze, they would actually turn these sprinklers on. And they would cover everything in ice, these strawberries. I don't know. It just protected them somehow. I'm still not sure. I'm not on top of that. I've heard different stories about it. But anyway, again, thank you for our farmers for everything you do. And again, thanks for all the people that are out there working, especially during the holidays and all. I want you to be home. I want you to be with your families. Be safe. Think about your families and think about everything that's going on. Think about the people that are truly, truly homeless out there and think of what you can do for these people. Think about how they're living, the truly homeless ones. And you know where I'm going with that, because you got some of these people that are collecting money on the streets and they've got plenty of money. Trust me, some of them. And that's the sad part, because they're hurting the homeless that you don't know who to help. You know, it's like you see a homeless person, you're like, how can I help this person if I don't know this one's truly homeless or not? So you just do what you do in your heart and what makes you feel, or makes not you feel good, what makes them feel good. Again, guys, just want to say God bless you. God bless America. And I will talk to you in a couple days. And definitely go to my website, www.just-commonsense.com, www.just-markcommonsense.com. And God bless America, and God bless you. Have a great night. Have a great Thanksgiving, and take care.